So then how to, okay, so I just, bear with me, ask questions if there's anything you want to know. All right. Here, you're interested in getaways, or it is what it is? Huh? Okay. 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 All right. So I've been living here for about 11 years, and I've always loved to travel. During my university years, I was a flight attendant with Air Canada, partly because I wanted to travel for free. But when I came here, I really didn't do any travel. And then the folks at Arak Hotel in Mada'in Saleh, there was an incident, and for 6 months they had absolutely no tourists. I had done some marketing for a friend of theirs, so he asked me if I can help them market the hotel in Mada'in Saleh. And it took me on a journey of discovery that now, if you ask, when people ask me about Saudi Arabia, I don't think camel, I don't think sand, and you'll see why. So let's go for a trip. So when I'm planning tours for expats, and I actually not a tour guide, I'm not a licensed tour guide, so I do it for free. It was just getting a group of people, or wait, if I decide to discover a place, so I go. I usually always take for expats. That's one of the things we had an agreement with the Arak people is I need a big bus. Partly because there are no bathrooms along the way. And so the bus is where you can control the people, number one. Number two, you can control the cleanliness. You can control the air conditioning. And it is a safer road. Sometimes it's slower because we're very visible and we have to go at speed. And so it takes a long log tour. The first time we went to Mada'in Saleh, it took us 5 hours. We got in at 1 o'clock. What we did is we started serving people food on the bus. So the minute we were greeted at the airport, we would be taken on the bus would be there, and then one of the licensed tour guides there and somebody from the hotel would actually provide us with basically picnic baskets, food. But food, I was very specific. At the time we had the avian flu, so we had no chicken, no egg, no mayonnaise, anything that could cause any illness. And usually we had kids and adults, so you want to throw in a chips and a cookie and some juice and water, and then some sandwiches, you know, substantial sandwiches. Usually tuna work because everybody eats tuna or vegetarian. You always have to have a vegetarian option. So that's why I started with this picture. Okay, next. Okay, so my goal, why the folks at the Saudi tourism asked me to do this is because they're trying to reach out to the expats. So for expats, and Saudis actually, I've had lots of Saudis come with me on my tours, and they enjoy it because they see Saudi Arabia in a different viewpoint, from the viewpoint of an expat. I want to change the image of, oh, I have nothing to do, Riyadh is so boring, or Saudi is so boring, let's get on the plane to Dubai, because there's really plenty of stuff. It's become so difficult to even get on planes to go places here. Promote adventure tourism. There is a lot going on in the kingdom, and frankly, you don't know until you go there that there's a lot of adventure activities, so for the teenagers and for the kids and for the adults. The other thing is to look at the regional varieties. Khurasan is very different from Jof, very different from Al-Hasa, and it's exciting to see that. It's a big country. There's also different folkloric dances, different traditions, different way of dressing, different food, and all of it has to do, reminds us as human beings that we actually react to our current environment. So whatever we have in terms of plantation and you know, what's available in resources. The other thing that I discovered through Mada'in Saleh is there's a whole treasure of archaeological sites that have yet to be discovered by most people. So for expats, it's really an opportunity to get a first-hand look at some of the sites, and you actually can go and touch them before the Antiquities Department get to them, but you can actually go up and see a lot of the archaeological sites. The other thing too is it is interesting to go and see and support local tourism. You'll see one of the fellows that in Khurasan, it's been very exciting and gratifying to see that every time I've been there now 5 times, the 5th time he has his own place, he's got now 2 boats, he's hiring people. So it is very satisfying to see that the people you know you create relationships with are growing and making better business. Obviously he's given us good, he's provided very good service. Okay, Now, the other thing they've asked me to do is to provide some advice in terms of traveling within the kingdom. And again, from an expat point of view, and I've kind of repeated myself. Okay, so this is Saudi Arabia. How many of you, when you see this picture, think of Saudi Arabia? This is with my regular camera, and this is Wadi Disa. It's about 160 kilometers from Tabuk, northwest of Tabuk. It is very lush. It is very orange. I mean, we would come up here. So these are very large sites. Most of the pictures are either mine or somebody who's been with me on the tour who was kind enough to share it with me. This is also Saudi Arabia. Okay. Very white, soft sand beaches. I was in Fiji 2 years ago. I could count 7 shades of blue. In Farasan, 5. But the sand is softer. And you actually, we were at, I didn't have a picture of that, but you're at the bridge, you're looking down, and you see manta rays just going by. You don't even need to dive in to see the fauna. Okay, so just some other things that people don't remember. Farasan was a penal colony up to 1965. So you will find a lot of what you see in Farasan, people who were thrown to the colonies. Also, Kharj was full of water in 1960s. Now it's dry. So sometimes now you want to go see places before they change. The environment is changing. Okay, ground rules. If you're traveling with a group, please, please, please use a tour operator. They've asked me to emphasize that. Partly for safety reasons, partly because then they can ensure all the services are there for you. Like me, sometimes I just travel with my own group and I know my people, so what I will do is I always take a licensed tour guide. Partly because they know the ropes, they know the papers, they know the formalities. So even though I'm very fluent in Arabic, it's better to have a tour guide. Dress conservatively. I don't allow anybody to come with me on any tour if they're in spaghetti straps, tank tops, or short shorts. This is, I keep reminding them, it's as though you're going to a small village in Greece or Portugal. The country is conservative. So the other thing is, again, remember what I said about bathrooms. It's a sensitive issue with Westerners. So take facial tissues. Water, for some reason, is available everywhere. And it's really cheap. At 1 rial, it's available cold everywhere. So I'm not so worried about that. But facial tissues, sunscreens, my biggest problem is phone chargers and film, especially if you have sophisticated cameras. If you're going to the little villages, you're not going to find them. So you're stuck buying a new camera because they don't even have the disposable ones. And have a spirit of whatever. I mean, we went from Najran to Grayat al-Faw in the south and on our way to Wadi Disa. The bus driver refused to go to the tombs where we wanted to go. And so some people started walking, you know, the younger ones. The older ones were a bit concerned. And, you know, usually somebody will stop. And we had a couple of pickup trucks that stopped. We got on the back of the pickup truck and everybody went. And everybody was happy, actually. Tourism doesn't like me saying that, but that's what happens. Okay? But have a spirit of whatever. And usually you find people are very nice, very kind. They come up to you. They want to have a conversation. A lot of them invite you to their house. I don't recommend that. But they do come up to you. They will offer you food. They'll offer you. They just want to have a conversation. The other thing, too, is I've always asked, and I'm seeing it more with some of the other tour guides. I'm happy to see that. Okay. The Leave No Trail Behind campaign. That one is beyond taking up the garbage, because there will be certain parts that are dirtier than others, and they're working on it. But the other issue is a lot of people feel, and Westerners particularly, they'll feel that, well, I'm eating an orange, and so it's organic, and let me toss the orange rind. It's okay. It's organic. It's going to compost. The reality is the orange is acidic, and it's not indigenous in certain parts like Riyadh. It is indigenous to Najran, but not to Riyadh. So you are actually changing the food chain for the insects who feed the others. So it's always nicer to ask people to, you know, take their stuff or just make sure you have garbage back and remind people that they should not, slow down? Oh, okay. I told you I speak fast. All right. So sorry, the translator just signaled I'm going too fast. You're okay? Okay. All right. Let me know also if I'm going too fast over here in English. The other thing too, it's not a big drama to offer the hotel operator or the hotel place your nationality or ID number. That's part and parcel of traveling in Saudi Arabia. They're going to want your national ID or iqama or passport. So, okay, now this is a whole, you're okay? You're okay? All right, so there's a whole bunch of day trips that you can do if you are in Riyadh and you only have a day. I get a lot of people who call me because they have people coming in from the States or from Canada or somewhere and they don't know where to take them. Edge of the World is a very popular spot in the Acacia Valley. It's very dramatic. It's very, we go mountain biking. There's the iris fields, which are about just an hour and 20 minutes from here. But if you're going to the iris fields, these flowers will only pop up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can set your watch to them. I've seen it. I didn't believe it. At 2 o'clock, all these iris fields that look like just pure grass come up, and they are purple. They're very small. There's the Bronze Age tombs at Kharj. There's the World War II place at King Abdulaziz Palace and Government House. Unfortunately, it's not open on the weekends. I'm pushing to get all these places open on weekends, and maybe the folks who run them should take holidays during the week. But that's why it's good to have an operator or a tour guide, because they usually know who to call. Wadi Hanifa is a beautiful picnic area. It's become much more interesting. And the Hayr, which was actually the wastewater of Riyadh, it actually becomes very clean in Hayr, and you really forget you're in Riyadh. It's a river. We're beginning to call it the Riyadh River. Architecture tour of Riyadh. If you look around the city outside of King Abdullah Financial City, you will see that there are buildings designed by Sir Norman Foster. That's the Faisaliya Tower. Right next to the Faisaliya Tower, the King Faisal Foundation. It's a very famous Japanese architect, Kenzo Tenge. And there's, of course, the Hadid is building something near Princess Noura. The Ministry of Information building, everybody calls it the Starship building. The Sama building, which was built by the same architect who built the World Trade Center in New York, the 2 towers that fell. It's the same architect. And he also built the, what did he build? He built the Dammam Airport, Dhahran Airport. Of course, now there's the King Abdullah Financial City. Again, for the Westerners, when you have visitors from out of town, they're expecting to see sand, they expect to see camel. When they get to see these buildings, like my mother, when she came, she said, oh my God, this is Las Vegas at night with the lights. It's just shocking to them how clean and how big everything is. The Ream Circuit, there's a Formula 3 car. It's a Formula 3 race car circuit. There are safari villages with African villages and animals. I've seen giraffes, hippopotamus, all kinds of stuff. Of course, there's the golf clubs, and there's the horseback riding. Ushagar and Shagra. Frankly, very, very popular places to visit here. We'll see the pictures, and of course, that's the ancestral home of Abdul Wahab, the Wahhabi faith, that the Westerners are all way too familiar with that term. Okay, bed and breakfast. There's a beautiful bed and breakfast at Ghat. You'd think that you're in somewhere in London. There's the petroglyphs just outside. Dairy farms. We have the largest dairy farm in the world. Who would think? Saudi Arabia. It's not petroleum. You go to Iraq, you go to Kuwait, you go to Egypt, you'll be drinking al-mara'i or safi danum. So you're exporting dairy right now. Organic farms. There's a lot of organic farms that will open their doors for visitors. And there is a wildlife reserve center in Riyadh on 16th Street. Of course, there's the horse racing, the best buffet in town on the weekends. And of course, there's the souk, the camel souk, the bird souk. Souk al-Haraj is very popular with the foreigners. I personally don't like it, but they will spend hours and hours and hours there. Art gallery tours. Riyadh now has become a very exciting town. In fact, tonight there's an opening of one artist who was at the Venice Biennial, and there's like 4 of them happening. Okay. One of the things about safety is when you get to the destination, if you have going outside of Riyadh, make sure somebody's picking you up. For me, that's always easy. I was thinking about what kind of weekend trips we do. So sometimes I try to time it to the festivals. The Olive Festival, 20 million trees, olive trees in Jof. Orange Festival in Najran. They actually export the oranges. They're beginning to work on mangoes, and so they have a mangoes festival in Najran. There's the flower festival in Taif. We went to one farm that exports 10,000 roses and 8,000 carnations a day to Lebanon. Talk about changing image of Saudi. Parrotfish Festival, that's in Farasan. It's usually in May. And of course, there's the Camel Beauty Festival. Historical sites. Well, there's always the government house in Al-Kharj. Taif, there's the old palace where King Faisal used to spend summers, Old Dir'iyya, the old Jeddah, Lawrence of Arabia house in Yanbu. And Farasan, there's a German arms depot. How many of you knew that actually Farasan was a stop in World War II? They still have the depot up there. There's a Aramco museum about petroleum, the Mesmek Fort, of course, which is downtown. And then there's the King Abdullah Economic City. It is one of the largest projects. It's now been topped up by the metro. That is the largest project in the world right now, the metro project. And then there's, of course, Al-Ula, Jamma, and Ghat. They're all historical sites. Archaeological sites, my favorite, Mada'in Saleh. That, I think every expat, every resident, every visitor, and every Saudi should go to Mada'in Saleh. It is absolutely fabulous. It is not as refined as Petra, but it's much more expansive. And actually, this was the end of the Silk Road, because from what I understand from the historians, is once the Romans began the trade war, the wind wars, they started using ship to trade. People stopped coming this route. That's why it died. Mada'in Saleh is the end of the Nabatean road. It was one of their last outposts. Najran Ukhdud is a site of a Christian massacre. I didn't even know it was a Christian massacre till I got to Najran. And they're working on it, they're excavating it. It is very nice. Najran Bir Hima, there's a lot of petroglyphs, which shows that man was here about 3,000 years ago, more than 3,000, 5,000 and 6,000 years ago. Grayat al-Faw will become an urban museum, finally. They did a lot of excavations in 1972. And actually what's touring around the world, and I think it's either at the Smithsonian or something, came out of Grayat al-Faw. I was telling the translator, did I go too fast? Okay. I was telling the translator that at Grayat al-Faw, we had with us a specialist, Dr. Michael McDonald from Oxford. He's an expert in languages. I was so excited to go with him the second time to Grayat al-Faw because there's a lot of Roman mosaics. There's all kinds, and there was a lot of scriptures. There's a lot of petroglyphs. So I was trying to figure out what ancient man was trying to tell and leave for the future generations. All that was chiseled. And I was being a smart person. I just went, Dr. McDonald, what is this one? And he says, Salamat, it means hello. What is this? Oh, I love so-and-so. What's this? My name is so-and-so. So frankly, it was all graffiti. A lot of the petroglyphs you will see is graffiti. So human beings haven't changed in so many years. El Jof, you'll get to see Bani Khalid. Domat al-Jandal has a mosque, and they're working on it. It was also part of the trail from the east to the west. Manjam is where there's a gold mine that's been producing gold for 2,000 years. Saudi Arabia has been producing gold for 2,000 years. It's the oldest continuously producing mine in the world. Tarut, there's a Portuguese fortress. Rijal al-Ma' is a fabulous place, just in terms of how they were built into the rock. Farasan, I've seen Roman tombstones dating back to Caesar times. And Taima is the other crown jewel, of course. It was a Babylonian fort. The Babylonians were worried about a pharaonic invasion, So they kicked down here. They built Taima. It's actually one of the first instances of a retail mall with different souks. Then you have Kharj, and of course, Hail and Juba have a lot of petroglyphs. Flora and fauna, Wadi Disa, Baha, but be careful of the baboons. If people ask me what is the animal of Saudi Arabia, I usually say baboons. I've seen too many of them. They overtake the camels. And the falcon, which is much more valuable than the camel. Damas, Bisha is beautiful for its scenery. FIFA, if you go up down south, they have their own special language that nobody can understand. Taif, of course, the rose gardens. Najran, you have a beautiful great dam. Al-Hassa, the palm orchards. Thumama, you have the oryx, which is believed to be what gave rise to the legend of the unicorn. Because the Arabian oryx, when they stand, if you look at them sideways, the two look like one, and the skin becomes very white. So that is the legend of the unicorn. In Farasan, they have the Reem Reserve, and they're really very, very tiny. And I'm going too fast, or it's okay? Yeah, slow down. The Reem Reserve they're very tiny, and they run very fast. It was very difficult to get any pictures of the Reem, but you can go and see them. Wa'ba crater, always take foreigners on a full moon. The colors are that much more magnificent. Rub al-Khali, I would proceed with caution, but I know you have to go. A few friends who've gone and said it was just the most incredible life-changing experience, but you need to have somebody who's licensed. And look up for the dub and the Arabian foxes. They do run around. Okay. Let's see, who else? Cultural, these are just lists to give you ideas of where to go. So that's why I put them there, and we'll go through some of the pictures. There's always folkloric museums to see. Al-Ras in Qasim, there's one inside Aramco. Taif has the most beautiful old car collection. The Farasan, the resident poet there, has Roman tombstones and clothes that indicate a lot of trade with India. Najran at the Cultural Center, they do actually show you the clothes that they used to wear and the dances. Najd, actually, if you have foreigners that come into town, we always take them to Najd village because it has a lot of artifacts. Shagra and Ushagur, each one of them has a different museum and in each city, and they're quite nice. Al-Ghat, you can find lots of artifacts, combs. I think one of the first American Express cards issued in the kingdom is in the public library in Ghat. And then there's my favorite, and I think the most successful heritage village here is Jazan. Okay, I went with few diplomats. I left them, I came back. I called them, said, where did you have dinner? They said, we went back to the Jazan Heritage Village. It was the best place to eat bamia, okra. And it was actually, it's run by Al-Usra Al-Muntija. So you're helping them while they do it. And it is actually the most successful. It is a delightful place. Every time we take people there, they're just in awe. More weekend trips. Okay, so we move from culture to sports. So you've got scuba, snorkel, at Farasan, at Yanbu, in Leith, and Jeddah, in Jazan, and also at the King Abdullah Economic City. Of course, you can snorkel as well. But these are the places. I don't know about the eastern province, but I can tell you on the western coast, up and down the coast, you can snorkel. Best time to go is December. But even then, you don't get lucky. So sometimes the water is just not very good. There's all kinds of activities going on. You can hook up with the Harley-Davidson crowd, and they do cross-country trips. BMW tricycle, they came all the way from Moscow, all the way down to Abu Dhabi, but they went through here. Of course, there's always the Hail car rally. There's one thing we discovered in Taif. They do chuck wagon rides, all the way from Taif to the Jordanian border. So if you ever wanted to go into the Wild West, they do it here as well. Mountain biking, of course, and mountain climbing in the south and actually just north of Riyadh. And then a lot of Westerners enjoy taking the Riyadh to Dammam and back. And they stop and take pictures at every station because the stations are we forget about the train. but it's really a very beautifully designed train station. Okay, so this is Tema. This is near Wadi Disa. We thought we had entered Middle Earth. We had just watched The Hobbit, and we didn't need to go to New Zealand. It was freezing. We went in April and it was freezing. We all put on the abaya because we were frozen. Potteries dating back in the different museums. That's another near Wadi Disa as well. The flowers near Tabuk. The camels. And again, this is, I'm always shocked when I see this. People, you know, I always enjoy seeing this picture. This is Tema, and this is Bir. There's a dam near Tema, so there's about 3 places near Tema. Thamudic writing. We usually take a picture for the papers. When we do take pictures, we put on our abayas. This is Elephant Rock, Mada'in Salih. This one is not very good, but you see, for the foreigners, it's the romance of Lawrence Arabia, the exotism of the Arab world. This is Adariya, but you have to have a big group. They will open it for you if you ask permission, but you have to have a group. Sorry. This is Mada'in, pottery. This is, I believe, in the little museums, you discover all kinds of things that will, is it loud? It's loud. This one, I believe, was in Najran, if I'm not mistaken. This is my friend Brad. These are the tombs in Mada'in Salih, so the people, these were the burial chambers. We were trying to see how big the people were. Okay, now, one of the reasons you want to have, is it me or somebody else? It's okay? Loud? Okay. One of the reasons you want to take a licensed tour guide is because you never know what story you're going to get. So if you see the head is cut off, and everybody assumed, oh, it's a religious extremist who came in and killed it. It wasn't. It was when Mada'in Salih was falling to the Romans, usually every empire goes and basically wipes out everything that was there before. So that's what happened. So, and then there's nature, a couple of earthquakes and a couple of other things. Lawrence of Arabia, everybody's seen the movie. This is the Hijaz Railway, the famous Hijaz Railway. The French are particularly very interested in going to see every stop. I've just been to a few. In fact, we diverted on the way back from Mada'in Salih. We stopped along we had about 3 stops going to the Medina airport. This is from Qasr al-Hamra. Again, this is Tema. So you'll see, I've focused on a couple of places. I'll let you see. I was happy to see Taif and Jof and other places have bigger pictures. This is the entry. This will change. That's the other thing. You want to go see it now because it's changing. I wanted to show how big Mada'in Salih is. Okay, I wouldn't even come to like basically here. Okay, this is, again, wanted to show you that there are museums everywhere. This is a nice picnic area, again, near Khaybar. We enjoy that. One of the things that fascinate us as foreigners is the choice of round points. Okay. You have a lot of kitschy ones, and you have a lot of interesting ones. You'll see some of the other ones. Okay, this is the Sabkha, the salt fields. Flowers where you least expect them, vegetations. You know, out of nowhere, they come out. This is in Mada'in Salih, the Sarai. That's where the riders used to be, the soldiers, Sarai, right? Qasr al-Farid, right? Most photographed picture in Saudi Arabia, I believe. More baboons. This is Wadi Hanifa about a month ago. This is the new city, economic city. I was there in January. So this is looking out from the public place. I'm going to get in trouble here. Do go see it. It is, they have a nice hotel there, the Khuzama. In fact, the guy just left me a brochures here. But also where women can drive legally. And this is what it looks like now. Everybody thought it was just project on paper, but it's actually, there's about 500 families. They already have a secondary school and elementary school. And we had waitresses and waiters serving us. No, just regular clothes. So it's a shock to the system almost, but yeah. Piano in the hotel. And this is the hotel, Khuzama Hotel. I think it's Khuzama or Faisaliya. It's the Starwood Hotel. You have to book early, even there, because it's about now 80% sold out, as people work in Kaust and people work in Jeddah come down. This is one of the golf clubs here. And this is one of the art galleries. I like this image because it's not what you would expect to see in Saudi, if you read all the newspapers outside. This is the camel souk. We had visitors from Los Angeles, and they wanted to see the camel souk. We got offered the camel milk. And so it's up to you. It's up to your guests if they want to partake of it or not. This is a checkpoint in Wadi Hanifa. It is up, 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 up. There is picnic tables made out of stone. It is where the people used to pay. It was a toll booth. That's what it was. They used to see the caravans come through, and it was literally a toll booth. So they would go in and go down. There's a stairs to go all the way down, and they would go and get the booth. That's how they used to monitor the caravans. There was customs even back then. Duty going back, way back when. That's my mom who was traveling. So even at 88 years old, you travel. We had also, the first time we went to Mada'an Saleh, we had somebody who was about 67, was also very heavy set. So just because you're old does not mean you can't travel in Saudi Arabia. She had the best time, and she told stories, and everybody enjoyed it, and she enjoyed it. So age should not be a factor. If you have older family members, the best thing you can do is get them out. They will enjoy it. This is Raggasat in Mada'an Saleh. And again, kitschy Christmas trees, things. More roundabouts. This is near Baha. This was in Baha, banana trees. Who would think Saudi Arabia has banana trees? It was plentiful. That's another picture. Closer just to show you that actually you grow bananas here. That was fresh water. It was very nice. And I believe, again, a lot of baboons. This was the palace, and when the sun hits it, it turns golden. So I think they called it Qasr al-Dhahabi or something. Baha is the coldest place in Saudi Arabia. So if you're ever wanting to escape the heat, it's higher in elevation and about 3 degrees cooler than Abha. The roadworks are fabulous. Again, for a Westerner, this is amazing. The roads work, they're beautiful, the asphalt is beautiful, and it is very impressive when you take a very lofty view. This is Ushager. So it's the home of all the big families from Najd. So Abdul Latif al-Jamil, who's the other one? All the car guys. They all came from, yeah. So they all came from there, from Ushager and Shagra. A beautiful place. They're very proud the fact that they did the renovations themselves, the restoration of all their old places, and they are very beautiful. You can also appreciate the architecture, because what we do for lunch is we go into one of the old homes, and we frankly don't need air conditioning. It's 50 degrees outside, there is no air conditioning, there is no fans, and it's beautifully and perfectly cool on the inside. There's a new guy that's opened a restaurant where you can sit outside at night. That's also very nice, but you have to go during colder months. Okay, this is also Shagra and Ushager. There's all these little, and this is one of the majlis. And again, on the rooftops, you can move from one rooftop to the next. Okay, I'm going to get in trouble here, but look at the ball. How many of you read Arabic? What does it say? The baseball. So before the sticks, الهيئة used to say, use baseball, hit you. So طابة المطوع. And there's this is from the little museum, and it is absolutely beautiful. Again, one of the things that we have very much in common, every time we bring people from the United States, they say, well, this is actually Native American. And we say, well, no, it's not Native American. It is here, and this is, one of them is for the baby, one of them is for the butter, and they will explain all the different gadgets that you have. Again, this whole fanus adds a bit of romance, the exotism that we like. You probably, as Saudis, generally Saudis go, oh, it's typical everyday thing, but for us it's more exotic. Okay, this is my friend Linda, and this is Farasan, so the date is there, 2010. This is our guide. You can see they catch, actually we eat the catch. And you can see how fine the water is. And it's incredibly turquoise blue water. And secluded beaches. You can have an island to yourself, actually. This is the German depot, arms depot. We went at that time, and it's actually, we forget that Saudi Arabia is on the migratory road for path for birds. We counted 13 different types of birds, of which 3 we couldn't name. We had no idea. Unfortunately, we didn't keep pictures of them. Too quick. That's some of the underwater life. I didn't take that. Linda and Fuad took that. Captain Nemo. Okay, this is Najran. Again, wherever you go, you're going to find ancient man, tales of ancient man. Here, the windows. Look at the windows. They are very small at the bottom, and then you go up, and they become larger and larger. One of the things that was very interesting was the beds are made of stone, and they're actually high elevated so that the air circulates. This is one of the, this is Ukhdud. And right now they're doing digs to confirm the story. You have kids, the kids loved it. They get to climb rocks, they get to do lots of things, and the parents are happy that they're not playing games on the internet. That's me in the car. I'm being taxied around in the Formula 3 car. And this is Edge of the World, a very popular spot for the foreigners. This is Arak Hotel. This is Mada'in again. You'll see a lot of Mada'in. This is Janadriya this year. Again, that's a must for any resident that lives here. It's become bigger. This is my friend Julia at Edge of the World, and the petrified forest. We have petrified forest here. What we, as suggestion, if you're taking a small group, take these folded chairs and the tables. It makes for a much easier trip. As much as we think we like adventure, we really like our comfort as well. And this is, again, some more sites from, this is Wadi Disa again. And the crab, lots of, and I can continue, but I'll stop. I'll ask if you have any questions. Yep. So can we just get, there's 3 there.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for promoting the tourism in Saudi Arabia.
No problem.
I'd just like to ask you concerning the religious rulings on visiting Madan Saleh.
It is makruh wa ghair muharram.
Oh, okay.
And the hotel is in Al-Ula.
Okay.
So I can tell you that, huh? No, there are 2 hotels. There are 2 hotels, right? Okay. These are my friends from the hotel business. So Arak is still there. Arak is still there. The other one burned down. Mada'in Saleh Hotel burned down. But Arak is the closest to the site, but it's still in Al-Ula. Now, I can tell you that the guys were my group You know, the Westerners, we love this, what we call desert diamonds. So you'll see a lot of us walking in the desert, and anytime we see a shiny stone, we take it. The stone may be this big, but you take it to a jeweler, and they'll bring it down, and it's a quartz, and it's a diamond. So if you have to give gifts to people, usually you take these. What we got a call, my friends got a call and said, drop whatever you have from Mada'in Salih because it's makruh, but it's not muharram.
So you didn't take any of the stones, or?
Huh?
You didn't take any of the stones?
No. And in fact, you know, Mada'in Salih is full of water underneath. That's what I was told. But again, they moved everybody out. They don't touch the water, but they don't destroy it either. Because the Prophet passed by, he averted his eye, but did sleep near Al-Ula, which is why they allow tourists to go there. And Al-Ula has its own historical site, so it is worth seeing as well.
So you've never faced any encounters with the mutawa'a? Not at all. All right. Thank you so much.
In fact, now they're flying. Finally, Saudi Airlines is flying, except they do it on Saturday through Monday. And what I was told was they do it because they want to serve the population. But I was suggesting that they should do it the weekend. You know, the weekend used to be, we used to leave Wednesday night. My trips are usually Wednesday night, and I come back the last flight on Friday or first thing Saturday. Huh? No, now it's Friday. We're all confused with the Friday, Saturday. Yes? Sorry, maybe we should get you the mic because I don't think anybody else can hear. Can we just get the mic here for 2 seconds for the gentleman to finish the mubadara?
The mic now with me. Can I ask just a question? The mic with me now.
Yeah, okay.
I have just couple of questions.
Sure.
The first about FITs. Do you think it's possible for the people to go by their own self and prepare their program without going back to tour operators or travel agents?
If you're just going with your family, yeah, or your friends. Like I honestly, I rely a lot on my hotel friends, and so it depends on the group I'm traveling with.
But I'm speaking about full program and comprehensive program, not just the accommodation.
What is it so loud?
Sorry, I'm speaking about full program or comprehensive program, not just accommodation. Yani if I want to organize everything by my own self, do you think it's available in the internet or in any channel that we can find about all the destinations in the kingdom?
I'll tell you what challenges you're going to face logistically, which is why you want to go through the hotel. Most of the museums, unfortunately, are closed on the weekend. So unless you have the hotel, and unless you're with a group, or unless you know somebody who's willing to open up the museum for you, it is until that changes, the compensation for the guys running the museums, you will have a challenge. The other thing too is to get to all the places, sometimes they know better what's going on in terms of how to move, the weather conditions, etc. So for me, for the cost, it's better just to have them deal with it, personally. Plus, I want to make sure for my family that the food is okay. So I have to be I'm very fussy about hotel accommodations and stuff like that.
Okay, last question. I'm asking about the budget tourists. Do you think the destinations or the cities in the kingdom, they are ready to receive budget tourists? They have the infrastructure for this kind of tourists?
My tour started with, I hate to say it, 4 years ago. My tour, including airfare, but I don't make a profit, huh? We all chip in. It was started at 1,800. I think now, depending on the location or what you plan to do, it's between 2,000 to 2,005, but that includes hotel, meals, food, and everything. Now, the only thing is scuba is extra. You know, you want to get your oxygen tank and stuff like that in Farasan. But generally speaking, it is very, very reasonable. You know, so for me to go away from the routine of every day, I go Wednesday night, come back Friday night. I think I've taken a vacation for like a week for 2,500 riyals per person, double occupancy, right? Is that okay? Is that roughly the prices? Yeah. but he also had a mubadara as well to share.
Imad Sulaiman, Al-Shatawi Tours, tour operator, Saudi Arabia. I want to answer a question about the visit.
Yeah.
Saudis, they can go without any permissions. Foreigners, either coming from outside Saudi Arabia or in Saudi Arabia, they need a permissions. And this is, it has to be submitted from.
It's just been cancelled without permission?
I just processed, today I processed.
Yes. Well, that means Riyadh is going to be open because Diriyah is going to be UNESCO very. If that's
If they are registered in the UNESCO, they should be open for everybody. Yeah, so, I was there many times, and it is open. For the question about the flights, there
Yeah.
are two flights one from Riyadh,
yeah,
Thursday, and coming back Saturday.
Yeah.
The other one from Medina to
no,
Al-Ula.
Medina. Yeah, from Medina. So
Medina
you have
to
to fly to Medina to fly to Al-Ula.
Yes, it is. Friday.
I want direct
Friday,
flights.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
want.
So
Medina is fun, but it's far.
yeah, and about the organizing the tours, I think there are more than 100 tour operators. So the best way to organize your trip through the tour operators. This is what
My experience has been with, are you a tour operator or? Yeah. I mean, either tour operator or whatever, but my biggest problem is securing, and my most expensive one, can we say that? The most expensive stuff is the hotel. Not the hotel, the bus. I promise you the bus is the most expensive stuff. And then you get the hotel, and then you get the food is the least expensive, and the tour guides, especially if they're licensed. I mean, you know, I'm so happy that 4 of the tour guides that I've used have all won awards. So Ahmed Juaid from Taif, you know, and I keep using the same guys, and it's great. Mit'ab also, in fact, when I have foreigners now, if I'm busy, he's the one who takes care of them, because they know they're well trained. I have to say that they're well trained. The one thing is they need to have better English language training, if you ask me. Other than that, they're perfect. Okay? But again, even with this, you know, I was in Mada'an Saleh, I organized a tour for my group. You know, just, again, it's for my friends who said, let's go again. By fluke, I put on Facebook, I've got 2 seats more, because it's cheaper for me if I go, right? And a friend of mine from Ministry of Foreign Affairs said, oh, good, we'll see you there. So the minute she said that, I called the hotel and they said, Rima, change your plan, because you're going to be kicked out of the hotel. So that will happen as well. So that's one of the reasons. I mean, we're being very frank. It's better to organize and coordinate because you never know. There's always things that happen. You know.
Can I say something
Yeah.
about Madan Saleh? We have now only one hotel at Madan Saleh, which is Arak.
Yeah.
The other one, Madan Saleh,
How
is
many rooms? 36 or
Arak.
something?
Arak hotel, which is only 50 rooms.
Yeah.
But it's fine with some group. The other thing that's regarding guides at the locations, especially Madan Saleh and other sites cannot be visited without a guide who knows exactly how to visit Madan Saleh. Because there's the visit to Madan Saleh, it has to be in specific times. Morning, you can visit some places, and afternoon, you can, with the sunset, you can visit other sites.
Yeah, but we
So-
went at night. We had a nice campfire by the Elephant Rock. One thing about Mada'an Saleh, I forgot to mention. A couple of things, so thank you for these questions. As much as I've been around the world and seen around the world, the first time we went to Mada'an Saleh, which was, I think, 2006, if I'm not mistaken, 2005, maybe, 2005. We went around, again, it was January, so you have to pick your time as well when you go. We were 42. In 2 weeks, we were 42 people on a bus. We went. At night, they took us out, but because for whatever reason, we went in complete darkness. No firework, you know, we didn't put a fireplace or anything. We had people from King Faisal Specialist Hospital with, you know, Zoom cameras. We had professional photographers. Every one of us, except for the kids that were with us, took pictures of the sky. And not a single picture came out. But it was the most incredible sight because there was not 1 millimeter of darkness in the sky. It was a mosaic of stars. There was not, you couldn't see the moon, you couldn't tell any of the constellation. It was such a challenge for anybody who had studied astronomy. It was just the most incredible sight. I've been told that the other two places where you get skies like this is the Rub' al-Khali and Mongolia. So if you do get the opportunity to go, one of the reasons you want to time it as well, because they know whether the sky is clear, whether you're going to get some of this most incredible sights. The other thing too about archaeology, and I forgot to mention that, when we went to Gurayat al-Faw the second time, it is very tempting, because you're sitting there and you see shards of pottery with drawings. And you see, in fact, my friend Fawzia and I were in one place where she said, let's put these two together. We put them together and it was a vase this big. Beautiful turquoise, faded. But the reality is, the archaeologists hate when you do that because you are moving the artifact from where it is. So it changes their conclusion potentially. So the other reminder is, as much as it is tempting, you should leave everything where it is because you're actually destroying the other people's opportunity to work and figure out what happened properly. But it is amazing. You go in this country, wherever you go, you will find things, petroglyphs. Petroglyphs are basically men's etchings and other sites that are just, I've never seen in another country that's still very young when it comes to archaeology, despite the fact that it's been around for a while. Yeah. Any other? Sure.
First of all, I would like to thank you for such valuable information. I can say that I shocked from what I hear today. Just I would like to ask, you mentioned that there is bed and breakfast in Al-Ghat, and I would like to know where is that?
Okay,
yeah.
Give me your numbers. I'll give you, it's a little one in Ghat.
Yeah.
It's in the back road from the public library.
Okay.
It is open for tourists. They will serve you breakfast and what have you. And I think there's 12 rooms.
Okay.
With little nice gardens and everything around it. So it is very nice. And I honestly, we went to see Ghat to check it out. The people in Ghat, this is where you're going to have issues. The Saudis are much more difficult and demanding of an infrastructure than the expats are. We tend to see things are more exotic and we're more tolerant. I agree with you, Arak Hotel isn't up to the standard that it ought to be, but we're okay with it because that's not our goal. We're just excited to see everything. The Saudis want more. They want 5 stars, Waldorf Astoria, the 4 Seasons, the whole work. So when you're dealing with those, unless these are Saudis who've traveled abroad and they come back and they're okay with it. When they're with a lot of foreigners, then they're okay. But most of the complaints come, so that's one issue. How did we get to that? I will give you the address.
Yeah.
It's very cute. It really is lovely.
Yeah.
There's a communal kitchen,
Second issue, I would like to ask about also in Al-Ghat, you mentioned the public library. Is it the same of Suderi Foundation?
Yeah, I don't know, but I know
it's a very big one with the garden outside.
The beautiful garden outside, and I believe it is Queen Iffat's American Express card. Queen Iffat, King Faisal's wife, American Express card, her comb, some of the other artifacts that they have. Of course, it is Suderi territory. You have Batil, the factory for Batil.
Yeah, I know it.
But the governor there didn't think he is ready to receive conferences. We went to check it out for a conference. And
I will talk to you about this.
Yeah, they said 2 years. Give us 2 years before you come for a conference.
Yeah.
But frankly, for day-to-day, and if they know you're coming with a group, that's the other reason you want to go with a group, is because they'll put on a dance for you. They'll also provide food. They go an extra mile when you're a group.
Yeah.
2 extra months.
Another thing regarding the museums.
Yeah.
There is a lot of museums in Saudi Arabia, but it's a private thing for the people. I saw one in Rijal Al-Ma for Mr. Ali Mghawi. It's very,
There's
very
two
nice.
in Rijal Al-Ma.
Yeah, there is two. One of them belongs to Mr. Ali Mghawi. He's a very, very nice guy. I think you met him there.
Yeah.
This has caused some problems for them.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
get grief every time we go because they feel that they're not getting enough support from
Yeah.
tour guides and tour operators.
Yeah.
And frankly, I go to every museum. So my group, now whether my group buys stuff at the museum or not is an issue because that depends on the group.
Yeah.
You have different nationalities and their spending patterns are very different. So that's the other, but generally speaking, the one in Taif was beautiful. And if you go to Taymat, the Taymat is amazing in terms of, this is a national, it's a small one. It's amazing in terms of the Babylonian steles that it had, pharaonic. It's amazing, but it's all in, they don't have enough display. And in fact, my translator and my friend in the back were complaining about one of the pictures I showed. One of the pictures I showed, because it's masamir. They're saying, oh, but that's what it is. They're operating on very low budgets. Now, one of the things that they are trying to push is, there's museums everywhere, the private museums. In Aramco, so if you get the opportunity, do go take your people. We're trying to profile them in Saudi Voyager. We're trying to profile all these museums to give them support. But you know, again, part of it is the museums should be open when the tourists are there.
Yeah. My last concern with Shtawi gentleman, I would like to ask, 4 years ago, in 2009, I remember I welcomed some groups for your company in certain places. From outside tourists, still you are doing this or not? Not anymore.
Thank you for your question. Actually, we used to work with a tourist visa. Previously, we worked with Saudi Arabian Airlines with a program called Discover Saudi Arabia till 2005. And then when we licensed from the SCTA, we started to issue a tourist visa. And we get a tourist visa for 80 nationalities.
Do you have questions?
And 2009, the SCTA, they stopped the visas for a new regulation and still stopped. Still waiting.
Apparently they're turning that around because I had friends come in from Bermuda and it always kills me because for my friends in Bermuda who are on an island, they get their tourist visa in 48 hours. And my mother took 3 weeks. But they came here and under $5,000, they got to see more of the country than I did. And they started calling it the Magic Kingdom. It's so beautiful. Again, they couldn't get over how exotic it is. But they had to land with Saudi airline. They came to Bahrain, and from Bahrain they had to take a Saudi airline. That was at the time, I went with Smallaghali, I wasn't with Shatawi. Yeah, I used different operators, yeah. Samalghi, yeah. Girls, any questions? Ladies? Okay. And guys, any questions? Sure. Hi, Mit'ab. I think you just won an award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Rima. Thank you for the list of sites to see in Saudi Arabia.
Well, the one with my mother is when you ran the tour.
Thank you. I just want to say, as a tour guide and tour operator, that what's the most interesting part of Saudi Arabia is that you explore things that mostly people don't know, even locals or expats sometimes, a lot more than what you just listed, that we as tour guides or tour operators, yourself and a lot of people don't know about. So it's very interesting to explore the country, and I'm sure you will find a lot of things that cannot be called as sites to visit, but you just pass it, and it's so interesting to see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rima.
Thank you. Well, I don't know how that picture got on, but thank you for putting that picture. One of the things about traveling, it humbles you. because you get to see and meet people. Like in Farasan, the guy took us to his parents' house. And you realize that in Farasan, they only ended up with electricity about maybe 7 years ago. And to see the girls go to school, and now I'm proud to say I saw them in Janadriya. They're now top scholars and they're doctors. So it's amazing to see the progress of the country. I speak 3 languages fluently and I understand about 2 others. But Dr. Arnulf was the chief archaeologist on the Tema mission. Brad, my friend who was lying in the, Brad was talking to him and we were looking at things, we were asking him to read things for us. That's the exciting thing about being here, because you're right there when they're digging. And so you're kind of saying, Dr. Arnulf, what does that mean? And so Dr. Arnulf started reading it. It was Egyptian hieroglyphics. And so Brad said, Dr. Arnulf, how many languages do you speak? And without thinking, he just turned around and said, ancient or modern? So, and it turns out he speaks 5 ancient languages and 4 modern ones. So at that time, we all were stunned. Anybody who spoke 2 languages, were nothing as compared. But that's part of the exciting part of learning, because part of travel is you get to learn, you get to meet, you get to see, and really appreciate how we are really a product of our environment and the people we meet along the way. Right? Anyway, any other questions? Nope. Thank you so much for coming. This was fun. Please read Saudi Voyageur. That's a publication from SCTA. If you have any complaints, I promise you they do take them up. One of the things I do write, and they do react on it. Sometimes it takes like 2 weeks, sometimes it's 2 years, but they do act on it. I wanted to point out as well what I do, I encourage you to go visit. This is Hirfa products. Hirfa is from Qasim. Just like if you go to Jazan, it's the Usr al-Muntija. You're getting a beautiful product, well made, and it's a nice souvenir, and you're supporting the local economy. The other thing too, the more tourism goes on, the more infrastructure, investment in infrastructure. So if you want to see change, we got to be the change. We got to be the one who's driving the change for a bit of that. All right? Thank you.